One day, in the bustling city of Lahore, a young woman named Aisha sat by her bedroom window, staring at the sky that was slowly turning orange with the setting sun. She was 20 years old, in her final year of university, and by all outward appearances, she seemed like any other ordinary student. But inside, Aisha was drowning. She carried within her a heavy mix of disappointment, frustration, and hopelessness. Life to her felt unfair. Her grades were slipping, her friendships were breaking apart, and every time she looked in the mirror, she found herself complaining about what she lacked instead of appreciating what she had. She wanted to do something meaningful with her life. But whenever a challenge appeared, her first reaction was always the same. It's too hard. I can't do this. That evening, as she sat by the window, her younger brother Hamza walked in with a grin. "Appa, guess what? I got selected for the debate competition finals." Aisha forced a smile. "That's great, Hamza." But inside, she felt envy crawling up her chest. "Why is it always so easy for him?" she thought bitterly. "Why does everyone else succeed while I'm stuck here, failing at everything?" Hamza didn't notice her coldness. He was too busy talking about the event, yet his joy only highlighted Aisha's emptiness. When he left, she muttered under her breath, "Some people are just lucky, and some of us were just not meant to win." Days passed, and Aisha's life continued its downward spiral. She started skipping classes, ignoring her assignments, and avoiding her friends. When someone invited her out, she always declined, saying, "What's the point? Nothing ever changes." Her attitude had built invisible walls around her. Her professors noticed her silence. Her friends stopped calling as often. Even at home, her parents whispered to each other, worried about her future. But Aisha brushed it off. "They don't understand how hard it is for me," she would say, convincing herself that the world was against her. One day, after failing an important midterm, she sat outside the campus library, hiding her face in her notebook. She overheard two classmates whispering, "Honestly, Aisha used to be so sharp. What happened to her? She just doesn't care anymore. Always negative." Their words pierced her like a knife. But instead of reflecting, she told herself, "See, even they think I'm useless." Her attitude had become her greatest enemy, yet she didn't realize it. It was a rainy Thursday evening when Aisha's life took an unexpected turn. She was walking home, umbrella in hand, when she saw an old woman struggling to carry two heavy bags across the street. People passed by, too busy to notice, but something inside Aisha made her stop. "Let me help you," she said softly. The old woman looked up, her wrinkled face breaking into a grateful smile. "Thank you, dear. You're very kind." Together, they crossed the road, and Aisha carried the bags until they reached a small tea shop at the corner. The woman insisted she sit with her for a cup of tea. Aisha hesitated, but something about the warmth in the woman's eyes made her agree. As they sipped their tea, the woman introduced herself. "My name is Saida. I used to be a schoolteacher for 30 years. "That's wonderful," Aisha replied politely, but the woman seemed to see through her empty tone. "You look troubled, child. Your eyes carry a storm. Tell me what's weighing on your heart." Aisha laughed bitterly. "It's nothing, just life. It feels like no matter what I do, I can't win. Some people are born to succeed. I'm not one of them." Saida leaned forward, her voice calm yet firm. "No, my dear. Success isn't about being born lucky. It's about how you choose to see the world. Life is less about what happens to you and more about the attitude you bring to it." Aisha frowned. "Attitude? How can attitude change anything? If I fail an exam, does smiling magically make me pass?" The old woman chuckled. "No, smiling doesn't change the exam. But your attitude changes you. And you change the outcome. When you walk into a storm believing you're powerless, the storm wins. But when you walk in with courage, determination, and a positive spirit, you discover strength you never knew you had." Her words lingered in Aisha's mind long after they parted ways. That night, lying in bed, Aisha couldn't sleep. The old woman's words echoed in her thoughts. Life is less about what happens to you and more about the attitude you bring to it. For the first time in months, she questioned herself. What if my failures aren't just about bad luck? What if it's me, my attitude? The idea was uncomfortable, but also strangely liberating. The next morning, she made a small decision. Instead of complaining about the long walk to her university, she would treat it as exercise. Instead of saying, I can't, she would try saying, I'll figure it out. It felt silly at first, but as days went by, she noticed tiny changes. When she forced herself to smile at her classmates, some smiled back. When she told herself, I can handle this, she actually studied longer than usual. When she failed to solve a math problem, she whispered, I'll try again, instead of slamming the book shut. It wasn't a miracle transformation. She still stumbled, still doubted. But something inside her had shifted. A seed had been planted. A month later, Aisha faced her final project presentation. Normally, she would have dreaded it, imagining all the ways it could go wrong. But this time, she remembered Saida's words, attitude changes everything. She stood before the class, her voice trembling at first. But instead of thinking, I'm going to embarrass myself, she told herself, I'm learning. I'll do my best. To her surprise, as she spoke, her confidence grew. Her professor nodded encouragingly, and a few classmates even clapped when she finished. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. And for the first time, Aisha felt proud, not because she was flawless, but because she had tried with courage. The following months became a journey of growth. She began waking up early, telling herself, today is an opportunity. She repaired her friendship with her best friend, admitting, I was negative, but I want to change. She started journaling, writing down 3 things she was grateful for every night. Slowly, her grades improved. She wasn't suddenly top of the class, but she was consistent. Her professors noticed her renewed energy. Her parents, relieved, saw hope in her eyes again. Most importantly, Aisha began to notice how her new attitude affected others. When she smiled, people around her smiled too. When she encouraged a struggling classmate, they found motivation. She realized that positivity was contagious, and her own change could inspire others. 6 months later, Aisha faced her biggest challenge yet, the university's annual business idea competition. She had always admired it from afar, too afraid to participate. But this year, with her newfound attitude, she decided to take the leap. Her idea was simple yet impactful. A platform to connect unemployed youth with small freelance opportunities, helping them gain skills and income. At first, the thought of presenting before judges terrified her. Doubts whispered, what if you fail? What if they laugh? But she silenced them with her new mantra. Even if I fail, I will learn, and learning is never a loss. On the day of the competition, standing on stage, she took a deep breath and remembered the old woman's words. Your attitude changes everything. With that, she delivered her pitch passionately, speaking not just from her mind, but from her heart. When the results were announced, Aisha didn't win first place, but she did win second. And more importantly, she won something far greater: respect from her peers, her professors, and most of all, from herself. One evening, months later, as Aisha walked home from campus, she spotted Saida sitting at the same tea shop. With a wide smile, she rushed over. Teacher Saida, she said joyfully, do you remember me? The old woman's eyes twinkled. Ah, the girl with the storm in her eyes. How are you, child? Aisha laughed. The storm has passed, and you were right. Attitude changes everything. She told her about the competition, her improved studies, and her repaired friendships. As she spoke, she realized how far she had come. Saida listened quietly, then placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. I didn't change your life, my dear. You did. You chose a new attitude, and with it, you changed your story. From that day forward, Aisha carried her story as a reminder. Life is not always easy, and failures will come. But with the right attitude, courage, hope, and persistence, anyone can transform their path. Her journey became an example to those around her. Friends who once called her negative now admired her resilience. Younger students looked up to her. Even Hamza, her brother, once told her, "Appa, watching you change has taught me more than any debate ever could." And Aisha knew then, deep in her heart, that the old woman's words were not just advice, they were truth. Because attitude truly changes everything.